What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Cole, DC, UPenn's finest, Chris Coacher, CB Coacher Boy. We got another great episode for you guys today. We will be asking one question for every single contender in the NBA. That could be, it could come down to how we feel about one player, how we feel about a coach, rotations, whatever it may be. They have to answer this question unless if they really want to make a deep run into the postseason. Make sure YouTube watchers, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review. I was a cricket, whatever. But yeah, let's just get right into things. I mean, first, we can start with the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I believe is, I think, Chris, you got the Thunder, right?
Yes.
All right, lead the way. What do the Thunder need to figure out before we get into the postseason?
What a lot of teams have to figure out, but I think theirs is most important. Just health and 8-man rotation, 8 to 9 man rotation that they're going to stick to. I think one of the Thunder's gifts and curses is that they have so many players that they can play, but sometimes in the playoffs that kind of can bite you in the butt unless it is a lot of injuries. So, hoping that they go into it all healthy, they need to find an 8 to 9 rotation that works for them. Not just the 8 to 9 best players, but the guys are going to provide you the shooting, the things that you really not lack, but the things that you can improve on coming off a title run. So I think that's the most important, getting a steady rotation and health, getting their health together. And even that means sacrificing a couple of games down the line where you may not win 65 games anymore. You may win 60, but it gets your team healthy. I think that's worth it. I think those are the two biggest things they have to work on.
Yeah, and that's definitely not going to be the first time you hear that kind of question going forward, especially with the addition of Jared McCain. We've already had shooting problems. Mark Daigneault's probably gonna have to look somebody in the eye who helped win them a championship last year and be like, "You're just not getting it done on the offensive end right now." And I think he would rather appreciate someone who is scoring the basketball and is at least trying on defense than someone who's defending their heart out, but I cannot rely on you to make a three, and that goes for several people in that rotation. I agree with you.
Alex Caruso is the guy. It's probably going to be him because Dort is going to play. You can probably bet Case and Wallace plays, Aaron Wiggins probably plays, or one of the two. I think it's going to end up being Caruso, unfortunately.
Well, Dort also may foul out, so
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Danny, any thoughts on the Thunder? I mean, they're probably the most. No team is perfect, but probably the closest to perfect.
I'm going to say chemistry. They've had so many different rotations and lineups come in this year with all the injuries, and so being able to gel at the right time is what I think the Thunder will need to prove down the stretch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. We can move on to the Pistons, who are.
I got the Pistons, and what I think the Pistons. One thing that the Pistons really seriously can lock in on going down this stretch is they have Cade. They have an offensive weapon in Cade. Do they have all these shooters around Cade? Do they have someone who can step up and be a second primary ball handler, or even just make buckets? Whether it's Tobias Harris, whether it's one of the young guys, whatever it may be, they need someone to be able to step up and go get a bucket when Cade might be tired, or Cade might need to step out of the game. And I think that's what we need to see happen down the stretch and into the playoffs if they're going to make a run.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this was a concern I had for them at the deadline. They didn't make that move. They didn't go get somebody who can truly create their own shot down the stretch of games. A key word down the stretch of games, if Tobias Harris is going to be out there, you're probably not going to have both Herter and Robinson out there. And now the floor isn't exactly as spaced as you want it to be. Because obviously you're going to close with Duran. You're probably going to close with Thompson as well. So it could get pretty clunky. And yeah, I pretty much have the same worry for the Pistons that you do. Chris, what What do you think on Danny's question for Detroit?
I think it's valid. And I think a lot of people wanted them to make a move at the deadline. I think they could have, but also I don't fault them for staying pat too, because I think you kind of want to see what this group can do moving forward, because you'll have flexibility in the offseason. So I get it. I think it's definitely something that they could have done. Definitely, I'm sure it would have helped. But also too, I understand not getting an MPJ or somebody like that, because now you're committing yourself to 30 million plus to a guy that isn't even the best shot creator, but he's a shot maker. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with Danny's point, but I think for me, I think it's just making sure the defense translates, just making sure you don't fall off on that end. That'll probably be my thing. I think they need to take into it, because kind of like I spoke to last episode, that's one thing that usually travels, and that's the thing that can counteract not being able to score as much, being able to defend a little bit better. So that'd be my thing. But I think Danny's point is valid for sure.
I think the pride of Philadelphia, Jalen Duren, he is going to be really pivotal in seeing how far this team does go. Because look, they don't have the second primary ball handler, like we said. So either that has to happen, or like you said, the defense needs to travel, and then the defense needs to be better to make up for not having that primary ball handler. And he's not even the pride of Philly; he's also the pride of Delco. You might be muted.
I was just saying Cam Reddish is the pride of PA, so
pride of
he
Westchester,
can have Philly.
Pennsylvania.
Facts. But Danny, you're still on the clock with the Spurs.
Yeah, the Spurs are an interesting team. Everyone saw Wemby's rise. Everyone could see this team. They went and got the move to get De'Aaron Fox last year, and you just see this team start to get pulled together. They finally got rid of that cancer on the team when they signed with the Knicks.
Jeremy Sohan's a cancer now.
Dude, he's been a cancer. Chris believes it too.
There's a difference between thinking someone's a bad player and calling them a cancer.
I'm a Jeremy Sohan hater.
Bad players are not cancers. No, they're not.
You're holding your team back.
That does not mean you're a cancer. A cancer is someone who is like actively trying to destroy the team from the inside out.
Fine. He is.
So he did say out loud that he wondered why Keldon Johnson was playing so many minutes over him. And somebody to wonder that does make me think maybe they're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. That's the only thing I think. Other than that, I'm with it.
Nah. He's not a cancer that way. Like he's not a diva, but like
he hit on Brian so far.
Yeah, I'm not going to on him, but the San Antonio Spurs are a team that has all of the tools to go win the NBA Finals this year. They have every single piece. They have Wemby. They have the guard depth. What thing that holds me back is going to be two things. It's going to be, number one, do they have the experience and can they make these big plays down the stretch? Because you see every team that wins the NBA Finals, they make big plays. So outside of Wemby, there needs to be someone to make these big plays in the playoffs. And number two is something that we actually haven't really thought about is if the way the Spurs play is funnel everything into Wemby and let them take these mid ranges and funnel everything to the paint. If teams start making a lot of mid range shots and start making them over Wemby at a higher efficient rate, it could be the end of the Spurs run in the playoffs. That's the way I feel. Currently, because Wemby's 6'5" and the player that he is, it doesn't happen. 6'5". Well, not 6'5", 7'5". Sorry. Because Wemby is the player that he is, that really doesn't happen that much. But the reality is, when lineups shrink in the playoffs, better players on the floor more, people can become more efficient, players step up. That might change. So I'm really interested to see how far this Spurs team goes, because I think they're the only team in the NBA that can really make the Thunder have a run for their money.
Yeah, the only point I disagree from is like, if teams start shooting the mid range effectively, it's like you'd have to literally roll out like straight 5 Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders or 5 Jaylen Browns or 5 Brandon Ingrams to like actually begin to like game plan around that kind of stuff. Because I'm pretty sure like the Spurs are probably one of those teams who like it's okay if they're making it from the mid range, they won't make it forever. It's impossible. So
yeah, exactly.
So I don't think they'll be too worried about that. But otherwise, I mean,
the Celtics that shoots a lot of threes, that they run into. like the way that the Spurs are vulnerable is outside of Wemby, because his team is currently constructed to support Wemby and built around him, which is the way to do it. I'm not saying it's not the way to do it, but like if you attack the weaknesses outside of Wemby, that's how you beat the Spurs.
Yeah, and there's very few. I mean, it comes out like maybe you could, lean off Vassell or lean off of Castle on the 3 ball. Like that is, of course, an option. Hope that Wemby settles a little bit more, even though he is a tough shot maker in his own right. It's still better than just letting him be 2 feet from the basket, because he'll go gadget, stretch his arms out. Yeah, I mean, but otherwise, I don't disagree. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
I think for the Spurs, the biggest thing is figuring out what they're going to do with Harper and Carter Bryant, because I think it's going to be a series thing where Harper's going to be better for some series, Carter Bryant probably better for others, especially because Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson are, surely going to see the floor with Vassell, and it's only so many more minutes to go around. And I think you want one of the things in NBA playoffs is having a rhythm, so you don't want to keep swapping guys out. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for them, finding just continuity in the closing lineups and in the lineups when it gets down to winning time. Because I think, like I said, in the playoffs, a lot of it is continuity, rhythm, and getting it going for a 7-game series. And like I said, sometimes it won't be for Carter Bryant, it won't be for Dylan Harper. We'll just have to see. But I think that's the biggest thing for me, just seeing that, what they do with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not disagreeing there, because rookies can very easily be benched in the postseason, even if they are the number 2 overall pick. So I'm on the board with the Celtics. I tried to give everybody their favorite team. In Chris's case, I gave him the Lakers because LeBron's there. So with the Celtics, my question for them is, how will they provide a real paint presence? Now, 2 years ago when they won the championship, this really wasn't actually a big deal because their 2 best players were aggressive going towards the rim, driving downhill, and then they had just 40% shooters all around the outside. It was really a non-issue. This year, they're bottom 10 in paint field goal attempts per game. But I think this is a really easy way, or I'm hoping they'll get this figured out, is they need to give Nikola Vucevic more touches down low. Now, the difference between him and Porzingis is, while Vuce can shoot, that's not his favorite shot. And then Porzingis, it's like, oh, he can shoot, and maybe that shouldn't be his favorite shot, but it is. Vuce getting on the low post is a little bit different than Kristaps Porzingis' mid-range elbow touches, along with the fact that Nikola Vucevic is a better passer than Kristaps Porzingis. If he sees a double coming from the corner, or help coming down from the elbow area, he's much more liable to pass it out. Or if he has the matchup one-on-one on the low post, I know he's going to take advantage of it, and we could probably see a greater uptick in open threes because of Vucevic's passing. So I'm excited to see that. Also, obviously, again, this is the biggest part of it. Like, I believe Vuce could truly open up and space the floor better for these guys. But let's say Tatum comes back and he even has a shade of his aggression heading towards the rim, which, again, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt considering what he's coming back from. This will also help with said issue, because then Vucevic clears out from the paint. Now you have to respect him out there as well. Tatum could just turn Vucevic into a completely different weapon than what he already is, being that, a good player that he is. So that was mine. How are we going to create a real paint presence before getting to the postseason? I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think that's a real concern for the Boston Celtics, especially down the stretch. Is like, what would be really good for them right now? Prime Robert Williams.
Yeah, a lot of people could use a good prime Robert Williams, wouldn't they?
But yeah, they don't have it, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Thank you for reminding me. Chris, what are your thoughts on the question I posed for Boston?
I think it's a valid question. I don't know. I was reading. I forgot what I was watching, but who was it? It was somebody that said that they think Vuce going to come off the bench and probably play the same type of minutes and same type of time that. Was it Bontemps? I think it was Tim Bontemps saying that about Vuce. He's going to probably, he figures he's going to play the same like type of role as Simons. And I just don't see that. Like with or without JT, I just think he's more important to how Mazzulla wants to play. Having that ability to stretch the floor and having the ability to pass out of the mid post, I think that's going to be very, very important. You can run splits, you can run fades off of it with Pritchard, White. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Bontemps on that, but yeah, I think your question is valid. I think just for the Celtics, it'll be not, and this isn't even a dig at Jaylen Brown. I know I'm a post Jaylen Brown hater, but I think it's not letting him dictate all the basketball in the playoffs. I think in the regular season it's easy to do just because a lot of teams don't play every regular season game as hard as they probably should. But I think in the playoffs it needs to be more widespread, more action. Just because I think it's easy to key on one guy. And it's easy to get a guy to shoot 30 shots in the playoffs, especially because everybody's pressing. So I think with the Celtics having so many good pieces, I think you want to make sure that they're being used to the fullest. So that'd probably be my biggest question. I think you muted again, Tom.
That's my second time doing this. Yeah, we'll see how the usage rate gets split up in the postseason if and when Tatum is back. Let's go to where are we at? The Nuggets. That should be me, right? Yeah. So for the Nuggets, I had a similar question Chris had for the Thunder. How will lineups look when everybody's healthy? Because they've had a plethora. Jokic has been out. Aaron Gordon was out. Watson is out with a hamstring now. Cam Johnson wasn't exactly hurt. I think he was hurt for a little bit, but he also just wasn't shooting well. How will lineups look now? Because like everyone is catching fire. Of every 5-man lineup to log at least 75 minutes for the Nuggets, all of them score a net rating above 11. And that includes a 20.1 with Jokic, Murray, Watson, Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, who they just converted to an actual contract. 10 different players across those 4 lineups. It can provide so much, but like, are you truly going to roll with a 10-man rotation heading into the postseason? Also, this is a little side note. I don't necessarily question what Adelman will do, but in the 32 minutes that Jokic and Valanciunas has shared the floor, they're at plus 12.1 net rating, a plus 12.1 net rating. So if they potentially have to go a double big against maybe Houston, or if the Thunder roll it out, like it's not impossible. They could do it. I doubt they do, especially at least not for long stretches. But it's something to look forward to. I'm glad. I'm hyped to see what they choose to do this postseason.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets would be interesting just because so many players can fit with Jokic. And I think Gordon being hurt and Cam Johnson being hurt and Peyton Watson being hurt, like all those guys trying to work their way back. I think to your question, Tone, like, are they going to go 10-man? They may. And I think it's the cool part is because Jokic makes it possible. They probably shouldn't. I wouldn't. But, him being there makes it possible. And Jamal Murray playing the best basketball of his career makes it possible too. So I think that's very interesting too. Did it again.
I swear I hit Command D, but yeah, I swear I hit Command D. Anyway, maybe I should just stay unmuted. But yeah, I mean, like this team, you have Jokic, Murray, Brucey B, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Peyton Watson, Aaron Gordon. Like Julian Strawther has gave them, time and minutes. Like and Valanciunas, of course. Like this is, I can't even express how big of a deal Valanciunas has been because one, originally it was like, just give us a cool 19 minutes so that Jokic doesn't die out there. And then Jokic goes down, but it's like, wow, we still have a starter quality center to fill in for him while he's hurt. And that's how they were able to stay afloat alongside Jamal Murray, showing the world that he's an all-star. So I'm excited for this Nuggets team. I think that they are just as close to flawless as the Thunder are to be entirely honest. I think I don't think they necessarily have a shooting issue, and they have two people that I can truly rely on to go get a bucket. Now, of course, Jalen Williams proved he can almost be a Shea Light. He just hasn't shown it this year, but we'll see. Maybe he gets fully healthy and he's back to dropping 40 bombs in the postseason like he was doing last year. But I'm excited for Denver. I think next up on the list, we have the New York Knicks, who was blessed to cover these guys. I think, Chris, you're on the job.
Yeah.
For the Knicks.
I think for the Knicks is similar to what the Pistons have a problem with. And I think it's just not looked at because they have Cat. But I think it's finding a not legit, obviously Cat's legit, but consistent two-man scorer, second scorer, I'm sorry. Because I think it's been Cat sometimes been a combo of Bridges and Hart and Anunoby giving you that type of production. But I think in the playoffs, with Brunson being undersized, I think it's going to be so important to have that consistency from, obviously we would want it to be Cat. He needs to be 22 and 10 in the playoffs, but efficiently and a way it works around the offense to where everybody else can still eat. So I think that's my biggest thing for them, having that consistent second guy, because Brunson, whether I'm a fan of his game or not, he produces. And I think that's something that we saw what Asar Thompson did to him. He literally took him out of the game, literally. And if you have a person out there for that one focus, even though Asar can't score, if their best guy can't score, it lets Asar be on the floor. You know what I mean? So if you're able to have Cat score, then you kind of play Asar off the court because you got to put somebody else in who can score. So I think it's going to be the biggest thing for the Knicks. That and OG Anunoby's health. I think he's so important to them making the finals run because he's their best perimeter defender, and sometimes he's been their second best scorer, time and time. So I think his health is going to be very important too.
Yeah, I definitely I don't disagree. Cat was the Celtics were salivating and fantasizing when Cat was on the court in their postseason matchup. It was really Mitchell Robinson that kind of won them the game indirectly the first two games, because if Tatum just uncharacteristically just didn't want to go to the rim anymore, him and Jaylen Brown didn't go to the rim anymore, Mitchell Robinson was truly able to defer them, even if he was being hackashacked. He was being hackashacked off the court, and Tibbs still believed in him more than Cat in certain situations. So Cat, and obviously you were speaking to Cat's point offensively. He has to be good enough offensively to not allow his defense to get him taken off the court. And look, and of course defensively, like Jalen Brunson's already a bad defender. It's not something that he can really help. He's short. He is a tree stump. He's tough, but he's not a good defender. You can't have two of those in the playoffs. It just doesn't slide. Like the Pacers were able to get away with it because their lone bad defender was also Tyrese Halliburton, who was the single most impressive player in the postseason last year.
And he's also 6'5", so he can play the passing lanes at the very least. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, if nothing else, he's going to be aggressive for steals. If he gets beat, he gets beat. But on the chance that he can get out and run, he's one of the best ball handlers in transition in the NBA. So, yeah, absolutely agree. Danny, you have any words on the Knicks, or did you want to pick up with the Rockets?
I'll pick up right with the Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets are an interesting team in the NBA. They have stuff that's coming out with KD right now. It's not good for them. Calling Jabari Smith off with your names. I don't know how real that is, but it does seem like something might have happened.
Haven't seen any screen recordings. It's too,
yeah, and when they asked
Twitter-esque. It's too
they asked
Twitter
about the screen recording. He just stopped responding. I'm like, brother, if you're that hyped to break this news, you're gonna have everything ready.
I can't imagine KD calling somebody like a terrorist or calling him like an evil dictator. Like KD is childish, but that childish. Also, that's not the biggest thing he went through this weekend, but by far not the biggest thing he went through this weekend. But of course, one thing dropped and then they found out, oh, he potentially is a burner, and people don't take anything seriously, unfortunately. But again, sorry, Danny, not to cut you off, but back to the basketball point.
Yeah, I think the Houston Rockets are an interesting team. not only because of the off the field drama or off the court drama right now, more so because they have all these pieces that I think could allow them to beat the Spurs and beat the Thunder, but they don't play to their fullest potential, and they haven't. They've realized that like when they're healthy and they have every single piece playing to their best ability, this team is one of the best teams in the NBA. And we saw this a couple years ago when they're the 2 seed. Last year, I mean,
it was last year. Last year they were the 2 seed. They lost to the 7 seed Warriors in 7 games.
Yeah, we saw it. I mean, and the reality is they're going to do everything they can to avoid that happening again. And Kevin Durant is a very good addition to try to avoid that happening. The reality now, I think what they have to avoid is, can Alpi and can the Thompson brother overcome Alpi's lack of defense? Because you put all these great wings and defenders around Alpi, and you hope that your defense can hold up. And it just seems like their play style is really contrasting, because you got some guys that want to run and go gun, and you got some guys that want to slow down and play half-court basketball. So, to me, finding your identity is what their true kind of need needs to be going into the playoffs. And
Danny, I think you made a great point. I think you made a great point on that last one. Half the team wants to run, half of them want to slow it down. And it's funny because if you cater it towards one way, if you cater it methodically, Amin Thompson can't play because he's just not effective all the time in half-court offense. But if you do the other way, then you just turn Alperen Şengün into a Miles Turner who can't block shots. He's just going to be in the trail most of the time because Alpi's not getting up the court with those guys. So it's a very interesting point. I like that you mentioned that. I also have come to the conclusion, I think there is one sole bigger issue than Amin Thompson not being able to shoot when it comes to playoff time, and that is Alperen Şengün is going to lose his mind when he's not getting the call. Because he gets calls, but he doesn't get every call he wants now. He's going to get even less in the playoffs. Unless you're Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, unless you are Luka Doncic, that's not something easy to overcome. That literally can take dudes out of a game if they are unable to get to the stripe. So
what if I told you that the Rockets become really, really good when Amin Thompson starts playing like Josh Hart?
Yeah, I mean, he'd be a souped-up Josh Hart because he's a better defender, a more aggressive rebounder, and more point guard-esque than Hart. But that's definitely not a bad thing. There's an all-star version of Josh Hart out there.
Hey, remember that time I was telling y'all all-star Josh Hart almost.
No, you are a troll.
Almost.
And we will send you to Guantanamo for that.
I love Josh Hart.
I do love Josh Hart. The Rockets,
Josh Hart's cool.
I think the Rockets need to find a way. Not find a way. Ime needs to stop being a bad word and play Reed and Amin together, because it opens up the game. It lets Reed be able to play on the floor. You let Amin roam a little bit on defense. It helps Alpi. It's just good. Like, I don't understand a problem. I mean, I don't see a problem with Reed, Amin, Jabari, KD, Şengün, like as your best lineup. And I think that could be helpful for everybody. It adds shooting to the floor. You don't have to talk about Amin not shooting the ball as much because he can crash and get his points off of drives where he's best at anyway. I don't know. I think Ime will do it at a point, but I think he's just trying to not do it for whatever reason.
I watched Drew Holiday give my team like a smooth 24 in the Eastern Conference Finals just by like Tatum draws 2 and then he little dump off to the block, little dunker spot. Like, there's no reason Amin Thompson can't do that. But he will also have to rely on someone who wants to be very rim dominant. It's very known Kevin Durant is not exactly the rim pressure god. But he gonna get his 30. Don't worry about that. That is not me saying I'm worried about Kevin Durant coming to the playoffs whatsoever. If anyone is, you are a fool. Maybe but Jabari can't dribble the ball 3 times without losing it. Nope. So that's where you kind of need Reed Shepherd to play. They kind of need each other, and Ime's trying to choose one or the other. Choose both. Yes. Choose both. yes, Reed Shepherd was the 3rd overall pick, but he's got to play.
I'd rather Reed Shepherd at 3 than Patrick Williams at 4, and I stand on that.
I agree.
Patrick Williams was the. I wish we had a draft show back then. Patrick Williams at 4, I would have lost my marbles.
I would have let out a scream that's never been scrumped.
Dude, I cannot wait for our draft live show this year. It's gonna be awesome.
Did y'all buy stock when I told y'all about Darius Acuff last year?
No, I did not. But I bought some before this year. I bought him, LeBaron Fillin, and Nate Ament, which it's starting to climb back up proudly.
You see what I see?
Those were the guys. Yeah. Darren Peterson, I'm gonna hold on to my stock, but he is a very funny guy.
He is Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis all in one.
He said he cashed at 3. He got 23 points, 18 minutes. He said, "All right, I'm done." It's like he's dead only worried about getting his draft stock up, showing that he can play basketball, and then leave.
No, they said he's per 75 maxing.
That's great. Per 75 maxing. Oh my god.
They said,
that is hilarious. His per 40 stats, because that's what college does. College per 40 stats. Oh, it's nasty.
NIL, he brought DNP. That's the only way you match NIL, DNP.
That is so crazy. I'm back on the clock. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this one was a fun one. So a lot of these teams that made a big splash for somebody at the trade deadline, when you're trying to gauge lineups, especially because Harden got traded for and Mobley's hurt. Mobley has not played with James Harden yet. So my interesting thing is what is the closing lineup? Because they usually will close with Mobley and not Allen. However, here are their top 2 lineups in the last 2 weeks. So since Harden's got there, it's Mitchell, Merrill, Tyson, Wade, Allen, and then it's Harden, Mitchell, Merrill, Allen, Tyson. So basically, Dean Wade goes to the bench for James Harden. That's effectively this works because obviously Harden and Mitchell are shooters. They're dominant at all 3 levels of the scoring game. Merrill spacing the floor. Tyson, not a great shooter, but like you kind of said about Anthony Black, he can make them though. So he'll kind of sit in that corner and then allows Allen to be the dump off man under the basket. Now, what will they do? I'm very interested to see what Atkinson will do, because you put Mobley on the floor, then that spaces the floor, and now Harden can just boom, 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 one downhill, but then they're not respecting, maybe they won't respect Tyson as much. But if you keep Allen in there, they probably won't respect him at all in the postseason. It could be a little bit of a leap of faith, because Harden and Allen's going to work. Harden has never not worked with a lob threat or a big man of Allen's caliber. But I mean, Evan Mobley, even if we haven't seen necessarily the leap that you want from him, and you get in that same 18 and 8, he's still the better player you'd probably want closing than Allen, because he can guard in space and he can kind of get his off the dribble, not to a great extent, but a good extent. So that's what I'm interested to see what they do. In the best case scenario, I hope Atkinson can find a way to get them both, but I fear that world might look like Evan Mobley being stuck in the corner, and that's not his game. I'm a little worried about that.
I'm with you on that, and I think it's going to be Allen. Is going to be the not odd man out, but he's going to be the guy, because you got to play Tyson. You have to. He's another shooter that opens up the court for Mitchell, Mobley, James Harden pick and roll basketball, and I think that's what's going to be having Mobley be the screener and roller on that is going to be beautiful. And I think Tyson has to play. So I think it's going to be Allen who's going to end up being the guy who loses minutes. But good thing about Jared Allen, he literally doesn't even care. He just wants to hoop and help. So, I mean, shout out to Jared Allen being a good sport. I think that'll help it. But I think it's going to have to be that, because it's going to have to be Mobley at the 5 when it's most important, when it's winning time.
Yeah, I hear it. It's unfortunate, because Jared Allen's been playing good ball with him. So
that sign and trade for Max Strus and Jared Allen for Brian is going to hit like cocaine. Don't worry about it.
Poor Jared Allen got to go to L.A., bro. There's not a bone in his body that screams L.A., man.
No.
He don't want to be there. They're gonna make him take off his millennial card again. It's gonna be horrible.
And he got to change his shoes. He can't wear those Kyrie 2s anymore. They've been wearing for 14 years. He literally can't.
God.
So he's
gonna make him wear the Lukas.
The Luka Doncic's.
Yes. They go and make them wear the Jordan Doncic's.
Speaking of LA, Chris, you're the 5 seed Lakers on the clock.
What they need to do is find people who actually know how to shoot the ball from more than 4 feet. And since the trade deadline's over and none of the buyout players can do that, they're cooked. Now I'm trolling, but what they need to do is commit to Jackson Hayes being the closing center. He may not be as skilled as DeAndre Ayton, but he works best with Luka. Point blank period, he's literally becoming Slovenian to prove that point. Like, actually, he's becoming Slovenian. So, I mean, what can you say about that? They need to find a way to have Luke Kennard on the court with AR and Luka, but it's difficult because LeBron's 75 years old. He doesn't have defense he used to have. And, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But they need shooting. Or they need Marcus Smart to remember how to shoot. For, like, those 2 seasons he did know how to shoot in Boston, he did know how to shoot at a point. So if that comes back, then they're helped. But that's really the only thing. And you can't figure out shooting because these guys are professionals. They work on shooting every day. They just either can or they can't. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for them. Everybody talks about their defense, but, I mean, when Luka gets everybody in foul trouble because he flails the whole game, defense is a little bit less of my concern. It's more about being able to shoot from deep. So I think that's my biggest thing. That or finding a way to put constant and consistent rim pressure. Constant and consistent all game. Not even drawing fouls, just get into the rim all game to where you tire those other teams out to where they're not making their threes. Because if you get outshot, you're going to lose. And if you're going to shoot threes, you can't just shoot them because they're open. You have to try to be efficient. So I think that's the biggest thing for them is shooting.
Yeah, I agree. And the rim pressure thing, I feel like that's an easy fix. Like, you have 2 guys who are unstoppable. You cannot stop these dudes from getting to the rim, which is Luka and LeBron. And AR is pretty good at putting on rim pressure. And you add on the fact that Jackson Hayes right behind him to catch the lob because Ayton don't want to do it. So I know Hayes won't catch lobs. Hayes wants to run. He's just not very good, but he wants to play. So that's what I agree with you. I think he is the answer just from an effort standpoint. His basketball IQ is questionable at times, to say the least, but he wants to get out there and block shots. He just needs to be a more effective rebounder and just catch lobs from Luka. You have no other job offensively. It's the playing center, a non-shooting center. You should be divorcing your wife to go play with Luka Doncic. Like, that's how serious this gets. I don't know if Hayes is in a relationship because due to some questionable decisions, I don't think he actually is one. But
nope.
Yeah, I'm with you. We have to figure out how they're going to get shooting plus defense at once because they're back at square one where it's like Vando can play defense, but he can't shoot. And then you got like Luke Kennard who can shoot, but like you really can't guard. So it's a whole mess. But you know who can shoot and defend?
No, Gabe he couldn't do either thing, Danny. Unfortunately, he couldn't shoot or play defense.
You want to know
he was just out there with braids.
Oh my God. Someone out there on that team who can shoot and defend, but I'm convinced Redick hates him. Young Bronald is shooting 40% from 3 this year. Don't look at the attempts and don't look at his minutes. Just know he shoots 40% and just know he defends.
And guess what?
Yo, you know what that would really benefit from?
Quentin Grimes.
A player like Paul George.
No, don't you try to stick him over there. You are crazy.
Look, we seen Paul George in Inglewood. Imagine he had to go up the road.
And Paul George is suspended. He's cooked. And guess what?
You see what Philly fans have been saying about Paul George. What in the world do you think a Lakers fan would do to Paul George?
They would make him retire, actually. They don't even like LeBron. LeBron won a championship there. They don't even like him.
Exactly. They don't like nothing. They don't like nobody.
But Kobe.
They don't like nobody. I would love to see if Twitter was around in 2006, I would love to see what they were saying about Kobe. And he's not playing. He's not good enough. He's
crazy talk. And
they'd be crazy. I'm with you on that. What's up?
I'm going to see Bronald tomorrow.
He has to play, bro. I want him to play. I don't care. I'm biased. Whatever.
He's going to be in tomorrow. I'll be there. Front row.
Yeah, Tony, you're up for the Toronto Raptors in the East.
I'm not up. Chris is up.
Chris is up. Sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris, you're up with the Raptors.
Again.
I'll make it quick for the Raptors. They need to commit to small ball. and let Scotty Barnes close at the 5 because that's when you can have the most offense on the court. And the thing the Raptors struggle with, kind of like the Lakers, if it is the only struggle that they really have is consistent outside shooting. And if you close smaller with Scotty Barnes, you create mismatches and you create ways for guys like Grady Dick to play, guys like Jamal Shead to be on the court. It gives you a chance to lean into what you do really well. So I really think they should commit to small basketball. Not saying start Scotty at the 5, but your closing lineup should have him at the 5 or playing basically the 5. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We kind of talked a little bit about that same thing on the last episode on the Belly Up channel. So, yeah, I have no qualms. Just for Danny's time's sake, I want him to at least get his last team out the way. Danny, would you like to discuss the Philadelphia 76ers?
My Philadelphia 76ers, no bias aside. They seem like they made their moves. They signed their two ways. They got their team all things shaken out. They had so many guards, and then they got rid of a couple guards, and now you're an injury away and a rotation aside from having to play Marjon Beauchamp in the playoffs.
He was solid at a point. Doc Rivers just don't like him.
And this is not a knock on him. The reality is the Sixers, when they're healthy, can go toe-to-toe with most teams in the NBA. Can they be healthy, and can they all contribute when they're healthy? We roll out a lineup of Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, and Embiid, and they're all healthy. That team can go compete with damn near any team. The reality is we haven't seen them healthy. We haven't seen them all play together. And this seems like, to me, another case of the Brooklyn Nets when they traded for KD, Kyrie, and none other than James Harden. You didn't really see them get much touches together. So the reality is when Paul George gets back off the suspension, you want to see him get back up to speed. You want to make sure Embiid's only getting better with time. You want to see Paul George get some minutes back, get his feet on himself, and keep playing the way he is, and kind of coast into the playoffs around like a 4 to 6 seed.
Yeah, I hear you. They just kind of got to dodge the play-in. But hopefully, when it gets to the postseason, they can pick up where they left off, though.
And I will say, Dan, Tyrese Martin is a really good two-way pickup. Just in case he does have to play, he's really solid. He's really, really solid. Like especially for playoff basketball, he's solid. He's definitely solid. That was a good.
Yeah, I do think Jabari Walker could be wind up playing some pivotal minutes down the stretch.
Not a bad player either. Even Barlow, he's getting good run now.
So
that's
his shooting needs to improve. He might have the ugliest shot in the NBA.
That's what I was telling you, Danny. When you asked me about him, I was like, bro, he can do everything but put the ball in the rim from anywhere from like 7 feet. That's what I was telling you. It's bad. It's bad.
He shoots like Cal Fultz when he had a shoulder injury.
Yes. And he hasn't even had a shoulder injury yet.
Not yet. Maybe it'll fix it.
Lethal Shooter can. He understands it now.
Yeah.
Danny,
if you have to go at any point, you can. The Timberwolves is my team. Again, this was another really fun one to figure out because I kind of knew what my question was, but I really wanted to get the stats to back it up. My question is, how will Anthony Edwards fare as the lead guard in a clutch situation? Scoring wise, if you have any doubt this dude knows how to score the basketball, you are ridiculous. He's second to SGA in points per game in the clutch, and he shoots 59.2%. If it stopped today, him or SGA should win the Clutch Player of the Year award. Here's my problem. Unfortunately, if he was playing in the league in the early to mid 2000s, it's called shooting guard, which is good. That'd be great. But he is unfortunately going to be the de facto point guard for this team in the postseason. He is 54th in assist percentage amongst anybody with 20% usage rate in the clutch, along with the same qualifications, 20% usage in the clutch. Assist to turnover ratio is just 1.5. Obviously, look, he can score with the best of them, but how is he going to continue to handle these blitzes in a 7-game series when you're being game planned for essentially as a point guard? I think people are going to game plan for him as a point guard. They're going to try to make him get rid of that ball. Now, lucky for him, I would assume was now around. Dante DiVincenzo is finding his stride. Mike Conley's still there. Jaden McDaniels is having a career year from 3. So All those things are very vital. But I will like to see him grow as a passer. No, you don't have to be Chris Paul, right? But if I can see maybe a Tatum level leap from like Tatum from year 4 to 5, or maybe I think it was 5 to 6, he really started to turn into that point forward. The chops were always there, but it was never anything like serious. You wouldn't want him being your primary ball like playmaker. I hope to see something like that from Ant in the playoffs. I hope he can evolve properly.
I like that. I think Aya's going to be a big help because he's played some pseudo point guard a lot of times. I think he's going to your point, I think Ant's going to be de facto, but I think he's going to be able to give him a rest while he's on the court type of thing. Like be able to take the ball handling range from for 4 or 5 minutes in the quarter. And I'd rather Ayo do that than Dante because I think when Dante does that, it takes away from his shooting a little bit. You know, some guys just lose a little bit of shooting when they do it. So I think that's why I was saying I think Aya's probably the biggest addition at the trade deadline, not named James Harden, because of that right there. Because your exact point.
Yeah, the epitome of the perfect moves around the edges, like when the Celtics got Derek White back in 2022-2023 season or 21-22 season. That move effectively took him to the finals. They were saying an overpay. It was like Romeo Langford and like a first-round pick. Shout out Rome. He was amazing in high school. Got hurt at Indiana, so things didn't pan out. But come on, that's crazy. But Chris, you are on the clock for our final team, the Phoenix Suns. Or is Danny on the clock? Who is the Suns?
It is Chris. But
Chris. Danny. Because I gave Chris the extra team. That's correct.
See, Danny. So. The Phoenix Suns got kind of well. I was doing my best Charles Barkley impersonation from a couple years ago, but it wasn't good. And I think for the Suns, bro, I think it's just we said a lot about people, but Jalen Green not being healthy sucks because the way that they've been playing, he would thrive. He would thrive right now. He would thrive.
The games he's played, he's been awesome.
He's been good. That's what I'm saying. He would thrive, bro. And I hate that. And one thing I was telling Danny last week was they don't have a power forward. That's what I think is going to kill him. I'm not saying you need a 1999 power forward like fucking Antonio Davis, but you do need somebody that's not Royce O'Neal. And shout out to Royce O'Neal. Shout out to him.
Shoots the piss out the ball, man.
It shoots the ball great, doing his best A$AP Rocky impersonation. Best thing he does is outside of his profession. I'll let y'all find that out with a quick Google search. But I think you need a real power forward there. And but I love the way they're playing. I love how, and I'm not a Grayson Allen fan, even though I'm a Duke guy. He's just not one of my favorite players. He's been pretty solid. And I think he's been playing a lot of de facto point guard too when you watch their games. I think that's been helping Book be able to ease into games a little more often. So I think that's been good. But I think what they need is just more size and more meaningful size. They have tall guys, but they're not really scaring you. They're not really putting a dent into your plans. You know, if you're trying to drive to the rim, you're not really nervous about it. They're not really make you think twice. So I think it's just more meaningful size, which, I mean, they can't get. But, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, just size that actually matters. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you. And I mean, maybe there's a world where they go like Allen, like Grayson Allen could play the 3 alongside Book and Green, and then like Dylan Brooks can play some 4 because he's obviously a tremendous defender, but he's definitely given up a little bit of height there. And then do you want him, you know, banging with the bigs? And then like he's low key very important on offense. So
very important.
Very important. He moved like Devin Booker's stiff ass older cousin. Yeah, like that's really how he moved. It's like oh, this player got a younger brother or whatever, and they show the high school clips, and it looks the same, but not quite.
He's literally Miles Hero.
Yeah, like yeah, basically. I'd be forgetting that Book is, well, I can't confirm if Book is older than Dylan Brooks. Obviously, he got into the league way later, or only a couple years later, but. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. They give up a lot of size. That's going to be an issue. But, you know, if they draw the perfect first round matchup of maybe like, Chet will destroy them. They got climbing them standings a little bit. The Lakers would be a pretty good matchup.
It would be a great matchup for them. They would be great.
Lakers would be a great matchup because DeAndre Ayton is not a serious basketball player.
Nope. I don't think he even liked the hoop for him. That's my personal opinion.
Dylan Brooks getting his revenge on Bron. I see it now.
But I won't have that. I just won't have that. I somehow
okay. Let's shift the narrative. Let's shift the narrative. Devin Booker getting his revenge on Luka.
I'm open to it.
And it caps off the Yowie fanfic of Luka book. There we go.
I will be there seated.
we will be tuned into Luka book season finale. But that's everything we have for you guys. 13 teams. The 13 teams we think have a serious chance of winning the NBA championship. No, Magic aren't there yet. No, the Warriors definitely not there.
No.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review from AP New Freezer, Coach by Migos, and DC Comics, even though he left. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.